I'm in Spain, but I wake up daily worried about Cuba. And now I have a new fear about going back, and I'm also worried about my family there. So today I want to talk to you about this topic. Hi, I just got back from the gym, and this was a video I didn't plan to make today. Honestly, I don't know. This week has been tough, and I need to vent. My frustration here with you isn't just my frustration, I think it's the frustration of all Cubans who are abroad. And well, I just needed to make this video. I'm even going to try to make this a video where I don't have to make many cuts or edit much so I can upload it as quickly as possible. I'm going to get comfortable, take all this off, and start. Don't forget to subscribe. I am Anita Mateo from Cuba, and I've lived in Galicia, Spain for 3 years. In fact, I told you in the last video how these 3 years living here in Spain have been. And well, that's it. Subscribe, give it a like, that way you help me a lot on this channel to keep growing and to keep making videos for you. A topic I haven't discussed in a while. The last time I talked about Cuba was about the internet issue, but in the end, Cuba is my country and I will always be affected by Cuba. Anything that happens in Cuba affects me since my family is still there. And one of the things people ask me the most all the time is, Anita, why don't you get your family out, guys? Getting your family out of Cuba isn't easy. I'm here alone, supporting and responsible for myself as an adult. And we're all adults and we're all responsible for ourselves. Required to keep supporting family in Cuba. That's something we need to understand because here everyone has made their own life now, out of humanity, out of love, out of affection, out of sympathy. How is the situation? Those of us who are abroad always try to send whatever we can to our family in Cuba. In fact, there are many people where I've seen situations in which their relatives aren't even grateful and maybe only care about what they are sent. These are complicated issues. Fortunately, my family never asks me for anything. I send them what I can whenever I can. I don't always show what I send them, but I send something every month when I can and as I'm able. So bringing my family here right now is not an option because it's not that easy. To leave Cuba, you need a visa to come to Europe, and that visa is processed at the embassy. And that's something that costs a lot of money, a lot of time. And many times they tell you no, they tell you no because you might be an immigrant. So my family is very, very, very big. There are a lot of people. And for example, my mother is not going to come alone and leave all her children there because my mom has 4 more children. For her, that's not an option. She'd rather wait until everyone can come, so it'll take a bit longer. And in the meantime, I'll stay here by myself and help them from time to time until they can come, but I want them to come right now. It's not an option since it's not that simple if there's an easier choice. You who always comment and know everything, should you take your family to Cuba? Let's see, tell me, are you friends with the guy at the embassy so you can give me his contact, talk to him personally, and see if my family gets the visa? Well, if you're not, don't comment. Only people in Cuba who understand its conditions truly know what these situations are like. Well, Cuba is going through an incredible health crisis right now. It's horrible, and this is another reason why I haven't gone to Cuba. I'm afraid, honestly, I'm going to tell you there's a terrible health crisis in Cuba. Dengue has always been around due to mosquitoes, especially in summer, but now there are additional diseases. Dengue, Zika, chikungunya, and oropouche are rare diseases affecting the population. It's horrible, and I think this also has to do with the conditions the country is in. I mean, the country doesn't have proper hygiene, it doesn't have cleanliness. There's no electricity, and this makes it much hotter inside the houses. And maybe the heat attracts mosquitoes, all these things. Do sweat and heat attract mosquitoes? And well, I don't know, so right now in Cuba, I remember some people got dengue before, but others didn't, for example. I think I never caught dengue, I'm not really sure right now. In fact, I'm afraid to go and catch dengue. But my family didn't really get dengue either, I think in my family, no one had heard of anyone who had caught dengue, or maybe someone did, but it was just a mild case. Now there's a crisis, now that dengue is spreading. Oropouche, Zika, and you get one and then you get another, you get dengue, you recover, and then you get Zika, you recover, and then you get chikungunya. So people are obviously poor nutrition, all those things contribute to people being weakened, their system is weakened and they can't fight off this disease. And at the same time, the lack of medicine because there just isn't any medicine. In Cuba, maybe if there are things, if you have a lot of money and you have the right contacts, you can buy things. But not everyone can. The vast majority of people, ordinary Cubans, can't because they don't have enough money for that. You prioritize either eating or this or that, even just eating. It becomes very difficult to get medicine, to get food, to get medicine. Everything is extremely difficult. If you live in Havana or a capital, you likely have more contacts and know people who sell things. I don't know what, but my family, for example, lives in a province. In the provinces, there are fewer stores, there are fewer things. Maybe not everything gets there. It's like they live with a bit more lack of things. They get their things here and there under the table, as we say in Cuba, through the black market, but it's still complicated. So this happens to a lot of Cubans. They are very weak because they are not well fed, because many people don't have money to eat. If you don't have a relative abroad who sends you money, it's very hard for you to eat and eat well. Even if you have a relative who sends you money from abroad, it's still hard to eat well. Because you can't eat meat every day, you can't eat what your body needs every day because it's very expensive, it's not sustainable. So I'm going to speak from my personal experience. I know not everyone is the same, but I'm going to tell you about my personal experience the other day. Today, this video is me venting some frustration, and for you to comment as well and know a little more about what's going on. Cuba, about this terrible crisis, so in the media and on the news and I don't know where else, they keep showing you the same thing. Like, the president went to harvest potatoes as if nothing was happening, and then they declared a health emergency in Cuba. By the time winter comes and the mosquitoes go away, then they'll say Cuba is a medical powerhouse that defeated these diseases. Of course, because in winter there aren't as many mosquitoes. They claim that, but I believe Cuba is no longer a medical powerhouse. I mean, they train professionals very well, but all the doctors have left and the ones who are still there are surviving however they can. There are no medicines or resources. It's not a medical powerhouse. Don't be fooled. So my mom tells me that someone in my family was very weak. They were feeling bad, and it was because of a vitamin B12 deficiency. This vitamin B12, I think it has something to do with meat. Vitamin B12 aids red blood cell formation, supports the nervous system, and boosts energy production. B12 is mainly found in animal foods like meat, fish, eggs, dairy, and seafood when there's a deficiency. Forget about that, because in Cuba, very few people can eat those things. Meat too, eggs are hard to find, and dairy products as well. So, well, a relative of mine had a deficiency of that, obviously. Why does that deficiency happen? Because they don't eat meat, because it's hard to eat meat. Even if I send them money and help them, they can't eat all the meat they need because it's very expensive, And I said, what can I do to help them from here? It's complicated because it's not your responsibility, but in a way it is. You kind of feel bad because you have a full fridge and you have a sick relative because they can't eat meat, so you try to help however you can. But I start searching on the internet like, how do I get meat for Cuba? And I know how to get meat. But you know what? All these websites, I bought this from them. They were sent to eat lentils. I bought them some meal combos and stuff. These are food websites where you pay in euros, in dollars from abroad. And those agencies, usually these more well-known food websites in Cuba, have deals with the government. It's like a way. I don't have proof, but I also have no doubt that many of these things are connected to the government. Because they have everything. There's everything, everything. How do they get that into Cuba without it going through, the government? So, these are the pages I'm telling you about. I'm going to try to cover them up as much as I can because I really don't want to promote this, honestly. But if you type in chicken there, look at all the chicken that comes up. You can find everything there. All of that is in Cuba now, but not for Cubans. But look at how much chicken there is and look at the prices. In 3 days, it's at my house. I pay for that. I pay 200 euros because the food for my family is already at the house in 3 days. So is the meat already here? So that only people who pay from abroad in dollars in foreign currency have access to this and can buy it for their family. And they keep getting richer. So I say, what do I do? What do I do? Me? I know some don't, but I have friends from Tenerife I always recommend, Bodega Express. They also make food combos, and I know they have no ties to the government, but their food combos only go to Santi Spiritus, for example. And sometimes they don't have everything, they don't have things I need because they're a bit smaller, they're private, they manage things their own way without any connection to those things. But these big ones have everything. So you look there for chicken, fish, eggs, and they have everything, everything, everything. I was in shock and I said, this is shameless, it's shameless. So people in Cuba who work hard every day can't access that. They get whatever they find on the street, which is usually poor quality. This food is better, more plentiful, and includes more imported eggs. I don't know what kind of food costs you a kidney and costs you who are outside. And you have to keep giving them money so they can keep getting richer so your family can eat. It's a very shady business. It's a business that takes advantage of people's needs. It's a business that makes you really angry, really upset. I'm angry right now because I've sent money to my family, but sometimes even with the money, they can't buy a box of chicken because they can't afford it or it's unavailable, but I, as an outsider, can buy it. And if it shows up 3 days later at their doorstep, then tell me, what do you think about this? Honestly, you have to have an opinion. Is this a country that works? Is that how it will be? I'm still in Spain, years pass, and I wonder how long this will continue. But the illnesses keep getting worse and you no longer know what to do. Honestly, I'm so disappointed by all those things that I don't even feel like going to Cuba. I mean, it's sad to think about. And my mom asks me all the time. I mean, everyone asks me. My friend Amanda, my mom, my family in general. They keep asking when I'll come. And I originally said I'd visit on vacation, but I didn't go. I got busy with buying my house and all that, and then I told them I was going to go at the beginning of this year or the next. But I'm unsure because things are so bad. And you go and spend a fortune in that country, and in the end, you don't solve anything. Because, I mean, you see them, you recharge with energy, with love and all that, but you go through so much trouble for everything, between illnesses, medicine, food, that honestly I don't know anymore if it's even worth going to Cuba. So I'm here going through 1,000 things. All this stuff with the house, and all those things haven't really allowed me to go over there, because going to Cuba is a huge waste of money. Look, just buying food for 15 days which will last them is a huge waste of money. Imagine staying there 15 days with more people wanting to pay for everything for everyone. Because when you go to Cuba, usually you always pay for everything, because in the end we live better here than there, but it's complicated. It's complicated, honestly, I don't know. I've made videos saying that I'm not going back to Cuba and I don't feel like going back to Cuba. I really made those videos because I felt like I didn't want to go back to Cuba. It's sad because my country, family, and people are there. They want to see me and I want to see them too. But at the same time, all these bad things happen. It's like a mix of emotions, like these illnesses. So I don't know because nothing happens. What makes me the angriest is that they don't do anything. Either things get better or that government leaves, or what are they going to do, or just let people be free for God's sake. They're making them struggle and struggle when before it was struggling because of hunger, now it's struggling because of illnesses, and it's something that doesn't get any better. I want this video to urge people to see the real situation. How Cubans abroad feel and the situation of those in Cuba. Well, you can look on social media and you'll see a lot of videos showing how people can't even walk or move around. Due to these illnesses, people get very sick and it's difficult to find medicine since pharmacies have none. How do you get the medicine? Through smuggling. On the street, like you go to someone's house, that's illegal, super mega illegal, but over there it's the only way you can do it. Well, I'm going to make my lunch because if I keep talking here, I'm just going to get more upset and angry. This is reality for those of us outside. Even though I'm calm here at peace with all my needs met, Is it hard? Look, the other day I made some yuca and a little corn, so I'm going to heat that up to eat. Let's see what leftovers I have around here. And this is rasho with potatoes. It's kind of a mix of Spanish food. Rasho is from Galicia, I think, and yuca with corn. I'm going to make a mix here. A little weird for lunch, and well, that's it. Today's video was pretty improvised. As you can see, subscribe and join this channel. In the next video, I'll show you the little house I bought. I'm stressed, but I also like to stay positive despite everything. And I hope that someday I'll have my family here with me. So they don't have to struggle so much. There must be a solution to end it eventually. Bye.